You all know him, the legendary Wuthering Bard, the smooth-talking musician who saw him show up everywhere, trouble brew, long blonde hair, violet eyes, a white coat, a pistol, and a flair for drama. But behind the mask of Olivier Lenheim lies Olivert Reise Arnor of the Erebonian Empire. Welcome back to Chronicles of Zemuria with your storyteller, Panagon Vanimore. Today we're diving into the full story of Olivert, Bard, Prince, Visionary, and one of the most important figures in the Trail series. Spoiler warning for the Sky trilogy, Chancellor saga, and beyond. Now that it's said, let's get started. In the remote northern town of Ulster lived a kind earth commoner named Olivier Lenheim, famous for a recipe, especially the Lenheim risotto. She later enrolled at Tor, where she met the prince, Urgent Reise Arnor III. The prince immediately fell for a cheerful personality and the two secretly began a relationship. Ariel eventually left the academy, but their bond continued, and they had a son, Olivert. Urgent wanted to marry her, but both his father and the noble family rejected the idea of a commoner empress. Fearing that his enemy might target them, Urgent entrusted their son to the Vendor family, assigning young Muller as his guardian. He then distanced himself for Ariel for his safety. But tragedy struck. The noble family, hoping to win a favor with the Four Great House, hired Jaeger to eliminate Urgent unsuitable family. Peter managed to save Olivert, but Ariel was killed. Olivert was taken to the Valflame Palace, where Urgent later married Priscilla, who adopted Olivert as her own. Years later, the twin Alpine and Cedric were born. Cedric, being of noble blood, became the official heir, but Olivert had held no resentment and cherished his family deeply. As he grew up, Olivert developed a fierce love for the Empire, but also a desire to understand the world beyond its border. To travel freely, he adopted a persona of Olivier Lenheim, honoring his late mother. When he realized how dangerous and influential Chancellor Gilead Osborne had become, he sought the advice of the legendary S-rank bracer, Cassius Bright. Disguised as Olivier, he entered Lebel under the pretense of an arranged marriage, meeting with Princess Claudia, and so began his first great adventure. Olivier crossed into Lebel and stopped at the Aken Gate Inns, where he met Sherazard, Estelle, and Joshua Bright. After a brief and hilarious encounter, he decided, completely uninvited, to tag along, but got instantly shooed back at the bar. Later, Sherazard and General Morgan began to argue. Olivier began to sing to calm everyone, and it worked. He then decided to accompany them to Bose as the wandering bard Olivier Lenheim. He was later arrested for drinking a restaurant's most expensive wine without paying. After being released thanks to the mayor, he offered to help Estelle group investigate the Sky Bandit incident. This brought them to Valeria Lake, and they took a little break at the tavern. During this time, he bound with Sherazard, marking the start of their long friendship. Later that night, the group managed to infiltrate the Sky Bandit hideout and put an end to their scheme. With this incident solved, Olivier left the group with Sherazard and went back to Roland. In the airship, Sherazard caught him talking onto the phone, possibly Mueller, and suspected him of being an Erebonian agent. but he explained he was only there to meet Cassius Bright. He then spent some time in Roland drinking with Scheherazade and her friend Aina, and Scheherazade soon grew to trust him. Later, when it said Joshua arrived at Grand Soul, Olivier joined them again. He helped out with the martial art tournament alongside Estelle, Joshua, and Zin, and later assisted in stopping Colonel Richard's coup. Muller dragging him back to the Erebonian embassy afterward, but Olivier had already found his next purpose. After Joshua disappeared, Olivier returned to Olivert to support Estelle. Together they investigated ghost sighting in Rouen, uncovered overboss activity, and confronted Bloblanc, found in a secret passage in the old schoolhouse of Janus Academy. This enforcer immediately recognized Olivier as a rival in the realm of beauty and theatric. They had a little philosophical debate over what beauty is, and then he summoned a giant robot that was sleeping in the rooms. Following the battle, he paralyzed everyone, but somehow Dorothy saved the day, and flee, awaiting the next time he would meet his rival. Olivier and his group tried to stop Ouroboros, but unfortunately failed, and Wise Mind succeeded at summoning the Liberal Ark, an ancient sporting city containing the Oreo. When the Liberal Ark appeared and caused the robot shutdown phenomenon, which shut down the power of all Libel in a part of stolen province in Erebonia. Fear of a potential attack of Libel, Sieg Vander went with his army to Arcane-Gate. This time, Olivier and Mueller act as Erebonia representative, negotiating a temporary ceasefire so Estelle group could end the crisis. It was here that Olivier finally revealed his true identity. Prince Olivert raised Arnor. He later joined the assault on the Liberal Ark and fought alongside the hero all the way to Wiseman. The group saved Libel, but Ouroboros didn't manage to get the Oreo. After the Libel incident, Olivert and Mueller joined a party in Liberal Castle for their victory. That next morning, Cassius requests to Olivert to give permission for Estelle and Joshua to visit Amel, which he gladly accepts. He then met him and Queen Alicia discussing Osborne, increasingly bold action. Osborne soon arrived in Libel for a friendly visit, immediately requesting a private meeting with Olivert. There, Osborne defended Erebonia's recent annexation as natural consequence of chaos. Olivert openly accused him of orchestrating these crises, and hinted that Osborne might even be cooperating with Ouroboros. Osborne did deny it, and simply invited Olivert to join his reform. Olivert refused. From that moment on, the two men were enemies. During Osborne depart back to Erebonia, an announcement interrupted him, signaling Olivert passing on the high-speed RCA airship. He then shot a rose, scattering its petal, a gesture of defiance toward Osborne, who promptly accepted Olivert's challenge, stating he looked forward to see how long the prince can resist him. Soon after, Olivert and Mueller were pulled into Phantasma, a strange plane of existence. Together they helped Kevin Graham and the other defeat Lord Phantasma and escape. But once he returned home, Oliver knew he needed a new strategy to change Erebonia. To reshape the Empire's future, Oliver proposed a revolutionary idea at Thor military academies, a new special class, combining noble and commoner, strengthening bound through monthly field study. The Thor board of directors, which was Irina Reinfold, Rufus Abera, and Karl Reines, ultimately agreed with this proposal. After a successful trial run with 4 students, Thor Urshel, Crow Armbrust, Angelica Rongner, and George Nome, the first Class 7 was born. Green, Aliza Elliot, Laura Dudas, Macias V, Emma, and Gaius. Olivert met the student during their Arnor field study, explaining the class purpose. Knowing the conflict that was happening in Erebonia and the world, he desired a group to cultivate the youth so they could overcome it. He then warned that other director had their own agenda about their class. That reason left them pondering about what they could and should do as a class. As Crossbell prepared its major conference in the New Orchis Tower, Olivert stepped away from Mueller to enjoy the festivity of Crossbell's 70 years anniversary as Olivier Lenheim. Pretty irritated by his behavior, Mueller requested the SSS help in finding his prince, which they succeed. During the conference itself, terrorists attacked both Crossbell and Guerrilla Fortress. Thanks to the security measure in Class 7, disaster was averted. The conference then continued and ended with Crossbell declaring his independence. Prince Oliver then returned to Erebonia and learned what happened to Guerrilla Fortress, and that Class 7 stopped the terrorists. One month after the attack, Olivert and the three directors related to Class 7 decided to have a meeting. They debated about how the academy ought to be run and whether Class 7 should continue their field study. Olivert, who was in favor of the continuation, managed to convince them with a rousing speech. Thus, the three directors agrees to prepare the next field study. When that day came, Class 7 did take the train this time for their security. Instead, Olivert decided to transport them himself with his new Crimson airship, the Courageous. It was an enormous airship that Olivert wanted to use to signify his desire to unite the country and put an end to the growing tension between factions. Viscount Victor S. Arsaid, who was now the captain, and an air-rank bracer, Toval Randonnaire, were on board. They then departed to their next field study location, Warrior. But before that, Olivert made a little detour in Arnor. He wanted to show off the Courageous to the people of Erebonia. After this event in Warrior, Class 7 returned to school to celebrate the Tour Academy Festival. Olivert attended to it and celebrating the success of the class until he heard the tragic news. Guerrilla Fortress was no more, and Crossbell were apparently the cause of its destruction. Tension in Erebonia then escalated until the Empire plunged into civil war. Olivert went into hiding. During the war, he rescued Princess Alphen and Reen from the Patagruel. His sister now safe, Olivert asked Class 7 what they intended to do from here on. Reen answered in Class 7's stead that with the experience they had during their field study, that they will help the country through its new crisis. Hearing this, Olivert entrusted the Courageous to Class 7, sending them quests through their orbital terminal, while he supported resistance movement in the west. He later helped Class 7 storm the Infernal Castle, fighting Blowblind once more. The Civil War ended shortly after, but Osborne returned alive, stronger than ever. Osborne struck back by removing the Vendor family from Imperial guardianship weakening Olivert's political support. Still, Olivert pushed forward with one final effort: the creation of Thor Branch Campus, then a new Class 7 with Green as instructor. A month later, the whole campus field study took place in Crossbell, now part of the Empire territory. The new Class 7 mission, they were at the top of Orcus Tower, where they fought Campanella and McBurn. There, everyone learned that Rufus Alberia was holding the SSS in a metaphorical birdcage in Michelin. This made Oliver really upset, claiming that wasn't right to treat the hero of Frostbell like criminal. The next day, Oliver decided to help Class 7 under the guise of Olivier Lenheim once again. He helped the group to go to the Stargazer Tower to stop Ouroboros' plan. After an intense fight, they succeeded and Crossbell was finally safe. The mission now done, the branch campus were getting ready to return to school. Before they depart, they thank Oliver for his help. He continued operating the Courageous until George planned bomb on Osborne order. When he arrived at Class 7, before the outbreak of the Great Twilight, the Courageous explode. Then Olivert, Victor, and Torvald were presumed dead. But Blobla witnesses the blast and secretly rescued Olivert and Torvald. Victor survived it as well, though later corrupted by the curse. While recovering now blind in one eye, Olivert built a massive Courageous 2, assembling allies across Zemuria. He sent them to help Class 7 in secret. At some point, he heard about the great meeting taking place in the Pantagruel, with important figures such as Cassius Bright and Calvar President Rocksmith to fight against Osborne. When a battle broke out on the Pantagruel between Green, Cassius, and Osborne faction, he reappeared, revealing that he was alive all along. He opted the conflict and unveiled his plan, the Radiant Wings. His goal: stop Operation Jormungand and Operation Mil Mirage from escalating into the all-out war. The Bracer Guild, SSS, and Class 7 supported it. Thanks to them, the plan succeeded. Osborne and Ishmega fell. The curse was broken, and the war ended in 2 days. Olivert later worked alongside his sister Alphen to restore the people's trust in the royal family, after it was revealed their brother Cedric had supported Osborne. Before the Twilight, Olivert had proposed to Sherazade, and she accepted. After the war, preparation began, but Blobla stole the wedding dress, leading Olivert and Shera on a chase across Amdorn, until he returned it with a mysterious tiara as a gift. The wedding went forward, attended by friends from all corners of Zemuria. Afterward, Olivier and Shera depart for their honeymoon aboard a Courageous 2. Chaos soon broke out with Rufus take over Crossbell. A masked figure known as C claimed responsibility for kidnapping Oliver, Shera, and the crew. They were actually being held in the North Island. Olivert, always prepared, had smuggled a pistol inside his loot, then helped retake the ship, only for mysterious White Knight to strike it down. With Zala and Zed barely save everyone. Oliver then traveled to Libelle and gained access to the RCL2, using it to help breach the Retributive Tower during the final crisis. In the end, he chose to spare Rufus, who was presumed dead anyway. And that is the incredible journey of Olivert Reise Arnor, a prince who became a bard, a visionary who defied the Empire, A romantic would risk everything for what he believed in. Then a leader would shape the destiny of Zemuria. This story isn't just political. It's personal, heartfelt, and woven through every arc of the Trail saga. But what do you think? Do you believe we'll see Olivert again in the future Trail games? Maybe even in Beyond the Horizon 2? On the final arc of Zemuria? Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this lore deep dive and want to see more episodes in my Trail lore series, as well as my weekly game trivia short and my other game lore. If you're into walkthrough, review, and live stream, check out my second channel, Pentagon Valimar Gaming. Link in down below. I stream most evening around 7 PM EST. Thank you so much for watching, and may Adios be with you. Pentagon Valimar offline.